dribbled back to the end of the court. He took off into a sprint, and he took off from the free throw line. He soared through the air and slammed it into the hoop. This is one of Michael Jordan's most iconic moments while playing basketball. And it's an iconic moment for the legendary sport of basketball. In the 1890s, James Naismith was tasked with creating a sport for his students at the YMCA. Unknowingly, he made one of the most popular sports ever created. In the next 5 minutes, I'll talk about his invention of the sport, his legacy, and how it's impacted millions of people. Basketball is a very popular sport, and understanding why and who created the sport will help one appreciate the sport even more than they do now. I'm a varsity basketball player, and I've been playing basketball since second grade. I've learned a lot through that time, and with the research that I've conducted for the speech, I think I'll be able to explain his story pretty well. I'm going to give a speech of how he invented the sport of basketball, how he created a legacy, and the impact, and to describe the impact it has had on millions of people. So to start, James Naismith's invention was pretty obscure. The way it was created, it was very unlikely that it would take off the way it did. So like I said, he worked at the YMCA, and his director at the YMCA tasked him with creating a new sport for the people working there. According to my hero, James Naismith created basketball by taking parts of sports that already existed. Now, if we tried to do that today, it'd be pretty weird, and it just shows you how creative he was. So now the students at the YMCA were able to play a sport during winter, and he also pleased his director. So with this new invention, it was pretty basic. It had basic rules and it had basic materials. It was so basic that it only had 13 rules. It also had a team of 9 people, and that might seem weird because we're used to 5-on-5, but the teams were of 9, a total of 18 people, because that's how many people worked out at the YMCA. So, basic materials, according to Britannica, Naismith used goals with 2 half-bushel beach baskets, and it shows and illustrates the evolution of the sport. Also, the basketball that was first made was made out of leather, but now it's made out of rubber. So with his new invention, his legacy started to cement its place in history. Inventors always get recognition for their accomplishments, especially when they affect everyone and it affects culture. As a creator, he had multiple awards named after him. One award was the Naismith College Player of the Year Award. And also, according to the legacy of James Naismith, he was inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame and many more. That's an enormous accomplishment. A theme with legacy is the impact that it had on the people that believe in his legacy. So it impacted the people then through boredom, but now millions of people play it, and people use James Naismith as an epithet to basketball, even though it's not an adjective. It also impacted the culture, except I'll touch on that in the next section of my speech. But it helped build the economy. The NBA is a very wealthy organization, and they spend a lot of money helping different societies and stuff like that. And it also spends money on different organizations like the WNBA. So we always know that James Naismith will be a legend, but I think that his legacy is undermined because of his large impact. He impacts children, opportunity, and culture. For opportunity, he helps escape financial and mentally. He gives hope for the poor and through scholarships and salaries so eventually they can help their families one day. It also pays athletes large sums of money so they can invest in children and schools in their old communities so they don't have to experience the same thing he did. So the largest impact is on the American culture. According to Franken Oak, LeBron James, who's one of the most dominant players in his era, but uses his voice for socio-political issues. And this illustrates how basketball has given a platform for these people to speak on issues like this. Another impact on American culture is style. Michael Jordan is a large brand, and even more players are being tied to brands, and it shows today because it reflects in our style and fashion. Now that you know the story of James Naismith and his invention, how he created his legacy, and through the description of his impact on everyone. So next time you're shooting hoops, you should say a quick thank you to